Hello and welcome to the RetroSlot podcast, episode 72. This week we'll be talking about retro news, a lot of it to talk about. We got Demon's Crest for the SNES, a game that I had a particular rage-inducing moment with. I can't wait to talk about. Like different than your normal rage. This was a very particular rage aimed at this game and its developers who, frankly, I'm taking this one personally.
I see. I don't know. This could be like a good. He could be like sandbagging a little bit, and this could be something good or
It is
something
not
bad.
good.
Like, why isn't this game updated? You know.
Why isn't this game updated? Update my SNES cart.
By the way, I think every episode Briar has like a timer, a stopwatch, and he goes, "Are you ready?" And I go, and I do my stupid goofy face, and I think he like 1 second longer every single time, just to see if I'll hold the stupid face until he starts it.
What's actually happening is that every time I turn on the show, something is wrong, and I've got to quickly fix it.
I'm probably very quiet to anybody who's currently
I think
listening.
you're a little bit
live,
quiet.
so.
We're gonna have to fix it. I'm definitely gonna have to fix this one for the upload, but hopefully,
Yes.
chat. Does Jay sound okay? I can lower my voice a little too, and that may help.
I'll do like whispering ASMR. Sure.
That makes a little like rustling in my pants.
When you
do that. My
How have you been, Briar?
Now I
How's
think we're
life
just
treated
both
you?
quiet, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I can fix it in post. Fix it in post.
Yeah. Have the ads be 10 times the volume of us.
Perfect. Yeah. Even that is amazing, right? That way, if you take a nice nap with our podcast when the ads come up, hey, let me tell you about these new mattresses.
Manscaped. You shave your balls?
Boy, do I.
Razors are fun.
So, Jay, I was thinking about you.
Oh.
And what I wanted to know is, what would it take? What would it actually, like, what would the set of requirements, how would the universe have to align to see you in this mister? How can I get you in this mister today?
I'm just looking, man. I'm just kicking tires.
Just kicking the tires on the mister.
Briar doesn't even want to know how the week's gone. He doesn't want to say how his week. He's just ready to talk about his mister. Surprise, surprise.
Briar all I ever want to talk about is my mister. My wife is sick of it.
I was in Vegas. No.
The reason I'm curious about this is because I have a Sega Saturn game that I really want to put into the list of like one of the games for this show. I was like, how's Jay gonna play it? He doesn't have a Sega Saturn.
Not your week, Briar.
I know, but
all right,
it will become my week sometime in the near future.
Sure.
So I was kind of wondering, like, how would Jay even play this?
There's ways.
Emulators. I guess you could use an emulator on a PC. Would you be okay with a Saturn game? Like, how,
is it like an RPG or
no? It's not an RPG. Although maybe during Christmas break, because I'm sure
it's either a shmup or a fighting game. Then
it's not
one or the other.
Well, maybe it is actually.
It's like Street Fighter shmup. It's just like
oh my god! You just
like
again by
firing out of his legs.
You're rustling my Jimmy over here.
How can we fit two of the things Briar loves together?
Right.
I thought about you at the Retro Game Expo. I forgot to mention that during the auction they had this Street Fighter 5 standee thing.
Oh.
That went for like, I don't know, it was like $150 or something like that.
$200. Like a standee is like one of those cardboard things, right?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That
like life size, 6 foot tall. Ryu standee.
He's my boy.
He's like, looking all tough. My boy. Like Briar would like this.
He's one of the worst characters in Street Fighter 6, but I just can't drag myself away from my boy.
Why would they make the like most balanced fighter? Got nothing.
I'm sure. I feel like there's like more to that sentence. I was waiting for it.
Oh. I was just saying, why would they make the most balanced fighter like not good in a Street Fighter game?
I don't know. It all comes down to like combos and how to open up people, like how, like what moves you have that can like open up people who are blocking, how
Open
much
up
damage you can do with
people?
combos.
Didn't realize this was Mortal Kombat. He's talking about opening up people.
That's true. I have played the newest Mortal Kombat, and it is fantastic. It's real fun.
Ripping people in half. Demon's Crest, before I forget, Demon's Crest, there's a lot of decapitation. I've noticed.
Yeah.
Gotta say that. There's a lot
No
of heads
ESRB
missing.
rating on this one, though.
No.
Just
Was
flew under the radar.
Wasn't it? It was 91. It was right before.
Yeah.
No, 90. No, it was 94.
Oh,
There should have been an ESRB.
then.
Not
Do you have a box for it?
I do not have a box for it. It's the one thing I'm missing. I have the manual and I have the game.
And do they put the SRB right on the game itself? Probably not, huh? Otherwise you would have just seen it.
No, I'm gonna look.
So yeah, I'm serious though. What I want to answer that question. Like, what would it take to get you a Mister? Like, what would it?
Trying to change the subject. I think it was before the ESRB ratings because I think Wario. What was it? Wario's Woods.
I don't know.
When did that come out? Was that also?
Was it the first ESRB game?
That was December. That was the first ESRB game. Yeah.
And that was December '94.
December '94.
Oh, okay.
And Demon's Crest was like November '94.
Oh,
so
man.
like
right under.
Yeah. Right. It would have been PG-13 probably. Anyways, so the Mister. Well, we're already thinking that the Mister is going to be obsolete here pretty quick, right?
Obsolete? What do you mean? Why would you say that?
The new FPGA.
Oh, that Mars FPGA. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to make the Mister obsolete, though. I mean, the Mister's still going to do everything it does, and it's still getting new stuff all the time. The Mars FPGA is a different system, right? It's exciting, but it is a private company and comes with all that, right? It's like the Mr. FPGA is more of like an open source kind of project. So like, you're at the whims of a company. Mars FPGA is exciting. I just don't know, like, when or how good or.
They're still working on the N64 cores and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's coming along very well.
We're not sure how those are going to perform on the Mister, right? The way that it is now.
It seems like it's going to be really good.
Okay.
Like, there's a lot of people who are reviewing the beta stuff, and it's very good. Like, it's not finished yet. Like, there's still some graphical glitches. There's some music glitches. But most games are running pretty good. I even went so far as to build a Bluetooth N64 controller in preparation for it.
It's mostly cost at this point. Like,
okay. Yeah.
Because most of my library, I have a way to play, right? Except for N64. I mean, like, I could because I have a RetroTink, so I can like play and stream N64 as well. But I don't have a lot of want or need to play like stuff that I would need a Mister for, right? Because like, is Saturn's fully supported now, right? It's like
Saturn's on there.
The latest one.
They're still making small updates to it. Like, there's a couple of games, like I think X-Men versus Street Fighter doesn't quite work right, but it's still a new core. But it's for the most part, I've been playing with it, and it seems pretty solid. The PlayStation core works really well.
I own one Saturn game, and I do own a Saturn in box, but I'm not planning to hook it up. So, like,
what Saturn?
If I'm gonna, God, I've said it before. Now I have to look at my
sorry.
map.
That's
but
okay.
no, it's fine. Yeah, me too. So, if I want to play the Saturn stuff, probably, because it's not really cheap to buy games for Saturn.
No, it's an expensive system to collect for.
So, what is it? Albert Odyssey is the one game that I own.
Oh, okay. RPG. That's one of the working designs. Does it have the foil cover on it?
Yeah. It does. Yeah.
Yeah, those are cool.
So, probably Saturn stuff, or I don't think PlayStation's supported yet, is it? PS1?
Yeah, PlayStation supported. That's been about a year at least. Dreamcast, I don't. Now, I didn't. Everybody said that Nintendo 64 was never going to happen, but here
Right.
we are. It's happening. So, Dreamcast. They say Dreamcast can't fit. They do say it'll fit on the Mars FPGA. To me, the Dreamcast isn't that concerning because I have a Dreamcast with a hard drive in it and like every game on Dreamcast.
So those are the systems that would probably get me to buy one eventually,
Yeah,
and it's more a matter of, you know, like necessity. Like I don't feel like I need to play that stuff yet. So,
sure.
um, I don't know, because like a solid Mister's what, 300-400 bucks.
I think like at least I think at this point, I think
So
it's gone up steadily over the years since I bought mine. I think I bought mine in like 2019, and I think I paid about 350 to 400 bucks, but I think it's more now.
I can buy a used one for cheaper if I can find a deal on it. I'd probably be more willing to pick one up.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I'm not necessarily opposed to it. It's just more of a matter of like what's in front of me, and right now, like it's not.
Not high
I'm
on the
still
priority
I'm still
list.
tied to yeah. I'm still pretty in love with like SNES, NES, N64, Game Boy stuff.
Yeah,
Still have a lot of games to catch up on. So
there's
eventually,
a lot of
probably
games.
we'll get one. Maybe I'll add a saved search for Mister on eBay and see if I can grab one for relatively cheap, like I did the Analog SNES for $80 or whatever 4 years
Yeah,
ago when I bought one.
that's a
Um,
bargain.
yeah, for sure. So
Has Analog? Speaking of Analog, have they mentioned the Duo yet? That's supposed to
I
come out
put
this
it.
year?
It's still we talked about it last episode in passing, but they did say that it's still supposed to be released and shipped by the end of the year.
Okay.
There's not a whole lot of the year left.
Yeah, the Pocket though released in like late December, right? When they finally got that out.
Probably, yeah.
So that's not super surprising.
Sure.
Okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, I was just
No,
wondering.
it's okay. So my discussion topic, it is
Yeah.
Halloween. What is your favorite Halloween candy? Actually, two-part question. What's your favorite Halloween candy to eat? And then what's your favorite Halloween candy to like buy to give out?
Okay. All right. So you know how everybody's always like, "Oh, I want to be the house that gives out like the full size candy bars."
Yeah.
I like to be that house.
Okay.
I do. So what I'll do is I'll just go and buy like we don't get a ton of trick or treaters here. So what I'll do is I'll go and buy like they sell like I think it's like 10 packs or 20 packs
Like the
of like
Costco boxes.
the full size bars of
Yeah.
candy, and I'll get like a couple. But we don't like leave a bucket at the door. Like part of the fun of Halloween is, sadly, it's Halloween as we're recording, so I'm kind of missing this. But we let the kids come up to the door, ring the doorbell, then we open the door, and we like to see the kids, like see the costumes.
Terrify them, make them question
Part of
their
the fun.
livelihood. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All the good stuff, all the torture that you give to kids, the stuff that they talk to their therapist about 20 years.
And then you reward them with candy. Yeah.
Yeah, then we give them candy, and we promise there's no drugs in here, drug free. I promise.
I
But
know
I
I'm getting my
actually
candy.
don't prefer getting the full size. I would much prefer getting fun size candy bars, like the little guys,
Mhm.
because I just like how they're bite size, and I like how portion control is a little bit easier. Like
Sure.
I generally don't actually want a full size candy bar when I have candy. Like I will take like 2 of those fun size and be good. Especially like Snickers. Like Snickers is kind of my go-to like cheap candy, like kind of,
Sure.
like gas station candy I'd call it.
Mine's Milky Way. But yeah.
Milky Ways are great, I like, some people like peanuts, some people don't, that's fine. But the fun size it's like perfect because it's like it's just enough candy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the whole candy bar. I'm not the biggest sweets guy,
You never want to leave like half a candy bar. That's just awkward.
right?
You know what I mean?
Something more disgusting about like leaving like a leftover candy bar too, because you can see like the teeth marks in it. You know what I mean? And like how you like pull it away and there's like little caramel like stretchies that come
Mhm.
off, and like those are just gonna be like laying down on like whatever you put that candy bar down on. I don't know. I prefer just like fun size for me, but I like to give away the big stuff because I like to be like the main attraction. I want to see all the good costumes. I want to make sure people remember our house next year and that they're going to come back next year, because a lot of
Sure.
competition around here now. Like the church down the street does, like they do the thing where like everybody comes, they park in a circle, and then they open their trunks up and they do like Halloween that way. You know,
That doesn't sound the most giving out candy from the trunk of your car.
I think the theory behind it is it's supposed to be safer for the kids because they're not running around on the streets.
Sure.
It's happening in a church parking lot, so there's lots of people around.
Mm.
So it's like it's supposed to be safer. But man, it's kind of, to me, like I'd be upset if that was my Halloween experience as a kid. Like
Yeah.
it was part of the fun was running around the streets with my friends. I don't know. It's a more dangerous time, or at least we perceive it as being
Yeah,
more
I
dangerous
think
time.
about like what I used to do as a kid. We lived in a cul-de-sac, and there was a giant cul-de-sac right next to ours, and a giant cul-de-sac right across the main street from ours. So I would take a pillowcase, and I'd be out for like 5 hours. Like we'd go out, I don't know,
You got some
5
commitment to
p.m.
the
four
game,
four
Jay.
hours. Oh, dude, like a full size pillowcase,
Dang.
and I would come home, and that thing would be packed full, and it
Wow.
would last like a week.
Yeah.
I yeah, no, we it was a lot. Probably like 100 houses, easy.
Wow.
And
Man, you had it
we'd go out
optimized.
with with a like a group of kids, like there was no adults walking with us or anything like that. And now thinking about that, I'm like, there's no way I'd let my kids walk around the neighborhood without an adult. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, like when I
Simple
was
time.
little, like I'd go with my parents. My parents would kind of like be at the
Yeah.
street, and then I'd walk up to the house. I think by myself. I don't think I was with other kids, but as I got a little older, we'd go out with our friends,
Hmm.
and then it'd be like we'd just leave. Like our parents would all kind of be drinking at somebody's house, and then all the kids would just walk out the front door together, and we'd just come back whenever, and our parents would drunk drive our asses home.
Safety
Yeah, it
101.
was a different time, man.
Fuck. Yeah. Not proud of that for sure. I'm sure.
But,
Uh
it was a different time.
Seatbelts optional.
Oh yeah.
Um, I don't
They hadn't
know.
even
So,
invented bicycle helmets yet. They were running around with paper hats with little painter's brims on them.
well, I remember getting shamed if I wore a helmet as a kid.
Yeah, I don't think I ever got shamed for wearing a helmet. I adopted a helmet pretty early because I was mountain biking all the time in the woods
Mm,
when I was a kid. So I saw the saw the point of having a helmet pretty
sure.
quickly. Like, you at any point you could go flying over the handlebars and into a tree.
It's pretty wild to think about how far you'd travel. Like I would go miles and miles. Like I'd ride my bike pretty far
Yeah.
most days.
Yeah, especially like in the summertime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 5 miles each way, easy.
Can you imagine your kids doing that?
No. My son is still like learning to ride a two-wheeler at this point.
That's the
He got a
saddest
little
thing because like that was some of the best times of my childhood, and like I just actively want to deny my kids that, right? Because it's like, oh no, it's too dangerous. Isn't that sad?
well, yeah.
Anyhow, should we talk about some retro news? Bring it
Womp
down the whole.
womp.
Oh, you know
Uh
what? Halloween sucks.
I'll quickly answer my favorite Halloween candy.
Oh, okay, my bad.
I don't know if you saw my tweet. I stayed up to 3 a.m. packaging little like those little plastic, like the individual plastic
Like little gift bags of candy.
yeah, like little individual plastic
Oh yeah.
things. And it has one pack of the Halloween sharing Pokemon cards that has like 3 or 4 cards in it,
Mm-hmm.
and then like 3 or 4 pieces of candy in each one.
Oh, that's
And
fun.
I made 85 of them.
Oh, do you think you'll give them all away?
35 for my son's class that he took this morning to school,
Oh,
and then 50 for the kids in the neighborhood. But my ass is gonna be home because the last few times we've left a bowl out, even we got home one year and 5 minutes later, some girl, we have her on camera, came up, grabbed the bowl, dumped it all in her bag, and just walked off.
Yeah, man. I feel like that's legit. Like, hey,
I was
you're
so
dummy
pissed
enough
off.
to leave your candy out in a bowl. This is an honor system on Halloween. I'm literally dressed as a pirate. What do you want from me? I'm a kid. I only got so much self-control. What are you
She
gonna
was
do?
a teenager. She was like
Call the
13
cops
or
on me?
14. No, it pisses me off. I don't know. I always did the honor system when I was a kid. When it would say please take one or please take two or whatever. Please take a few.
There's been a
I'd
viral video going
pull out
around
the
of this
bag.
kid walking up to the bowl and there's nothing in it, so he takes some candy out of his bag and puts it in the bowl, like so the next person gets some.
Aw.
Like,
And then the next kid dumped it all.
that kid's a sucker. It's gonna be a hard life for this kid. He set himself some rough expectations for life.
My wife is the compassionate one too, and she's like, well, maybe she lives in a family where they need all that food or something
Right?
like that. I was like, sure.
Maybe she
Huh?
does, Jay. You're gonna starve that
Maybe.
family?
Maybe. No, but yeah, so I'll be home like staring down every kid that comes to the door. No. It was you.
It was you. I recognize you. I've got you on my doorbell camera.
Yeah, but I don't know. I probably will. My son doesn't like peanut butter, so like Reese's peanut, like all that
Doesn't
stuff
like
on
it or is allergic to it?
doesn't like it.
Doesn't like it. Okay.
It's weird. I think eventually he will.
Maybe not.
But like our kids go trick or treating for like an hour. They take like a little bucket. Like they don't know. They don't have the scheme down yet.
If only they had somebody to teach them.
I know.
Somebody who maybe is experienced at guiding others through experiences on a daily basis.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yes.
I don't think we'll ever find that person.
No. I'm a follower, man. Yeah. Anyways, so there's not a whole lot of candy I don't like to eat. Maybe like stuff with a bunch of nuts or coconut shavings and all that.
Yeah, I'm
nonsense.
a big fan of that. Coconut shaving.
Almond joys and
yeah, get that out of
things
here.
like that.
Your mounds.
Tecmo Bowl shirts.
Yeah, cool, man.
See this? Homage. .com is releasing over time, like they're doing like drops and they're starting with one. They have the Tecmo Bowl American flag, like
Yeah.
the one that comes up in the intro screen or whatever, for $32. It seems a little expensive, but the shirts do look pretty nice. Looks like a nice like shirt.
Yeah.
And for a limited time, 20% off. Buy it now.
That's perfect. I might
And it
order
says-
this. I like this Tecmo Bowl
Yeah.
t-shirt. That's kind of fun.
Eventually, it says they're gonna have every team that was in the Tecmo Bowl with like their helmets and all that stuff.
Oh yes, it's $25.60 if I order it right now. Okay. Don't let me forget, Jay. After the show.
I'm gonna let him forget. Speaking of things to buy, are you gonna pre-order your Metal Gear Solid cologne?
I already did. I had that one on pre-order. Are you kidding me? I get to smell like Solid Snake? Get out of here.
I was like, what is this? What is it gonna smell like? What kind of musk are you gonna be like?
It smells
let's
like
imagine
cigarette smoke and death.
somebody on stream, I mentioned this earlier today, and somebody's like, it will only make sense if it made the like alert noise every time you sprayed it.
I'm telling
you. Shadow Moses cologne.
Oh, it's not even just Metal Gear. Metal Gear Solid Shadow Moses. Does it say what it smells like in the article? Forest soil, hand-picked mushrooms.
Wait, are you reading it?
Yeah. This unique cologne opens with the crisp freshness of hand-picked mushrooms, forest soil, and evolves to take the wearer on a sensory journey.
It says the main scents are myrrh, fir balsam, and patchouli with undertones of oak moss, cedarwood, amber, and musk.
That doesn't remind me of Solid Snake at all. I'm being completely honest. If you don't have the smell of cigarette smoke,
ugh. It's gonna smell like a dank forest is what you're gonna
Right?
smell like.
That's what he smells like. He smokes all the time.
I don't wear cologne.
$50. Yeah, I don't even wear deodorant if I can help it.
Listen, let's not get hasty here.
I was just having a conversation with my wife on Halloween night. We went to not Halloween night went to a Halloween parade over the weekend. And I was telling my wife, I'm like, I've almost completely stopped wearing deodorant. She's like, really? I'm like, yeah, I don't find that I smell that bad anymore. Like if I'm going to the gym or I'm gonna like spend the day with people, I'll put it on, but I don't really feel like I need to anymore. She's like, I don't think I do either. Like maybe we're just getting like as you get older, you don't need it as much. I don't know. Like it's a hormonal thing. I don't know.
Is
Or
that
maybe your nose just gets less sensitive.
maybe?
You just don't realize you stink.
I've been using the same Old Spice antiperspirant for like 25 years at this
Oh,
point.
really? I
Yeah.
have to use sensitive skin because regular deodorant antiperspirant gives me like itchy armpits, and then I'm just like
Yeah, regular
scratching my
deodorant, like
armpits all the day.
yeah, the solid blue stuff or whatever always irritated my skin. So I specifically use the Old Spice, the
Yeah,
solid one, the white one. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure it has like aluminum in it. It's great.
yeah. I tried a non-aluminum one. It was like I don't know, Danger Doug's or something. It gave me a big old red rash. I was like, oh, this is great.
Awesome. Yeah.
uh,
uh
anyhow,
yeah. The Nintendo Switch expansion pack is adding Mario Party 3 and you put a couple of other things on here.
yeah, Mario Party 3, the Mysterious Murasami Castle, Devil World, and Castlevania Legends. Castlevania Legends for the Game Boy.
Just
Period.
regular Game Boy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Murasami Castle and Devil World are for the Famicom.
Okay.
And I
I was like,
believe
I don't recognize those titles.
Mysterious Murasami Castle may have been one of Shigeru Miyamoto's earliest games.
That's gonna be regular Switch Online too. That's not the expansion pack.
Oh,
Pretty sure.
okay. Wait, what's the difference?
The expansion pack is the like $60 a year
Oh,
one,
you
and
got to pay a
the
little more
regular one's
for
$20 a year. Yeah,
my
that's
bad.
cool. Castlevania Legend. I believe I have that CIB. That's a hard one to get too.
I think is that the one that they pulled out of the canon because they don't like it. Like the
You would know better than me on the story of
I
it,
think they did. I
probably.
think they pulled the can. There's like I think there's 2 or 3 Castlevania games for the original Game Boy. I think this might have been the first one and not the most
Sonya
well
Belmont.
regarded one. Sonya Belmont. Yeah, I think this is not well regarded. But I don't know. Nice that it's there. I play a lot of
First of
games
Belligerer.
on the Switch on the expand or like on the Switch Online Pass. The game we played this week, I played it.
Demon's Crest.
Yeah, I played it all on
Did you play it on the Switch? Did you do like the fast forwarding reminding thing? I bet that would be nice for this.
I didn't
game.
do the fast forward reminding thing. I did use save states though because this is
Yeah.
this is a password game, which is not only is it a password game, but it's like a 20-character password game.
Yeah, I did notice though. I accidentally hit exit on at one point, like on the second level, and I was like, "Oh no, am I going to lose everything?" No, and I just hit continue, and it picked it up.
Yeah,
So I'm assuming as soon as you turn it off, it
yeah.
might lose
Then you
it.
have to put in.
But as long as you're like in the, because I use the actual cart, so as long as you're like in the whatever session, you keep your stuff. If you
Good,
accidentally exit,
good.
whatever, which was nice.
Yeah,
Well,
I do wonder what's gonna happen with all this stuff when like the next version of whatever Nintendo's next console, whether that's the Switch 2 or whatever. I wonder if all these games will just carry over to like a continuing online pass, or if they'll start
it,
again like they kind of have in the past with uh the eShop.
my guess is if it's a Switch platform, it's going to carry over much like the Wii to the Wii U did, because you could still access the Wii Virtual Console from the Wii U.
Virtual console, yeah.
But once it
You didn't have to
changes to a
rebuy
new,
games for the Wii U,
the Wii U had its own
so you did
store.
have to rebuy games.
You could transfer them over from the Wii, I believe.
Oh, okay, but you couldn't transfer them back.
Yeah, I think it was like a one-time thing, and I think they
was.
lived on the console.
And like the output, because I think I was watching My Life in Gaming guys talk about this a little bit, is that you could transfer them off the Wii to the Wii U, but you couldn't transfer them back to the Wii, and the output on the Wii was actually better for those old games. So there were a lot of disappointed people who transferred them to the Wii U and like, oh, it looks worse on the Wii U than it did on the Wii for some games. Anyway, yeah, that's cool. 4 new games. Awesome.
Yeah. And 3 of them are on the cheap service too. That's great.
Yeah.
And they also did mention that 1080 snowboarding is still supposed to come out at some point on the expansion pack.
That's not out yet?
No, it's been announced for a long time and it still has not been released.
Wow. That seems like a big one.
Yeah. You got the next couple, I think.
Oh, okay. Splatterhouse just came to the Analogue Pocket and Mister, courtesy of Jotego, in time for Halloween. This is just awesome. Like, hey, it's Halloween. We got this thing out. I think they've been struggling with it to get it out, the core completed. And they released it for the Pocket and for the Mister on the same day, today, Halloween, as we record this. It is just for patrons, though. So you have to be a patron, like, because it is a beta core. What he does is a little different than some other people. What he does is, if you're on his Patreon, then he kind of gives you a code to download these things. He releases one almost every Friday, like a new core every Friday. But then eventually, once he feels like it's finished and it's been enough time, he releases them publicly. Which is what he just did with the CPS2 core that is now public on the Pocket, which is awesome. I put a list of all the games on CPS System 2, Jay, linked here.
Oh, sweet.
And it's a lot of games, right? This is like Capcom's big arcade Super Street Fighter 2, the entire Street Fighter Alpha series, X-Men versus Street Fighter, Darkstalkers, just a ton of kind of the like, big 90s arcade games. 19XX, The War Against Destiny, which is an incredible game. There's a bunch of stuff here. And all this stuff is now playable on the Pocket, which is awesome. And it's public. You don't have to pay anybody anything for it. You can just download it. And he also released the CPS 1.5 games, which is these weird games that there was this weird, like, in-betweener thing that came out, like, for Japanese, like, home systems. But there's Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, The Punisher, and Bubble Bobble all coming for the Analogue Pocket, courtesy of Joe.
How do arcade games hold up on the Pocket?
Pretty great when you plug it into your dock and put it on TV.
True.
It really depends on the game. Some stuff is, like, as you can imagine, a little too small to play on like a Game Boy size screen. Some stuff is fine though, like a beat 'em up, like Cadillacs and Dinosaurs with the Punisher. I would imagine would be fine. I haven't actually tried it, but I would imagine that kind of thing would be fine. But like a shoot 'em up, like 19XX, I think would be challenging to play on such a small screen, especially with my eyes. But like the Pocket, you just plug it into a TV and you're good to go.
Makes sense. And the Splatterhouse stuff, that's the arcade version, correct?
Yes.
So he's wearing the actual white Jason mask as opposed to the red one that we played on the TurboGrafx.
I believe so. I believe that's correct.
And then there was a couple of the weapons that were different, right? I think we talked about that.
I don't remember, honestly.
I think so. All right.
But perfect Halloween game.
Yeah, for sure.
Next story got me a little concerned, honestly. Atari is buying Digital Eclipse, and in fact, I think they may have bought Digital Eclipse as we make this. I saw Digital Eclipse's Twitter right before we recorded this podcast, kind of talking about how they're thrilled to be part of Atari now. We've talked about in the past that, this modern Atari of the last few years seems to be a very different Atari than of the last 20 years. But, this is concerning to me. Digital Eclipse makes some awesome stuff that, retro gamers are definitely watching. A lot of very cool remasters. They did the Atari 50 collection. I think they did the Capcom collection, didn't they?
I think so. Yeah, it says it here as well, and they did the Atari 50, right?
Yeah, Atari 50. They definitely did. I mean, I don't. There's a couple of reasons I actually wrote yikes in the comments for this because I'm a little concerned. A is that like I like Digital Eclipse. I think they do really good
Mhm.
work. Um,
It's gonna lock them out of some other potential things that they could work on, I feel like.
maybe not. Like I don't know. Like how much can Digital Eclipse just work on Atari stuff? Or is Atari like going to like aim themselves at being more like a retro brand? Do they want to make new games? Like I don't know what's gonna happen with
Sure.
this. What scares me about it is a consolidation of the game industry, which we keep seeing and keeps going poorly. I mean, we're Destiny guys, and we're seeing what's happening with Sony and
Mhm.
and Bungie right now, which isn't great. We've seen the Embracer Group have financial troubles, and now they're laying off people across dozens of studios. Microsoft just keeps buying things, buying things, buying things. But it wasn't that long ago where we saw them completely divest of making games for the Xbox completely during what's that, like the end of the Xbox 360 generation. So it's like I don't know. It's scary to me. I really like Digital Eclipse. I don't want them to go anywhere.
Well, it
Hopefully
doesn't
this
seem
works
like
out for the best, though.
yeah. It doesn't seem like it was for that much money either, to be honest.
And maybe Digital Eclipse was in financial trouble. I don't know.
It says the deal consists of an initial consideration of 6.5 million payable at closing, and then which is made up of 4 million cash and 2.5 of shares of Atari, as well as remaining earn out of up to 13.5 million, which is payable in cash over the next 10 years. So like 6.5 million, 2.5 being in stock for digital. That doesn't seem like that much to me, all things considered. For like a dev studio.
Yeah, who knows what the financial situation in that studio was, though, right? Like maybe they needed a bailout. Who knows?
Hmm, interesting. We'll see. Hopefully it doesn't like cut off their whatever, their tail a bit as to what they can work on.
Yeah,
Like
hopefully
if
not.
they're only able to work on things that Atari owns now or whatever. We were talking about Nintendo just a minute ago, and I know this is not technically retro. However, uh, I do consider 3DS sort of like DS 3DS to kind of sort of be retro because 3DS is no longer supported, basically. Um, but there's a new patent that has emerged for the 4DS that shows like images, and I thought it'd be interesting to kind of like mention talk about here because Nintendo handhelds often have retro games and stuff accessible on them, but they're potentially showing a third screen on the top of
That's
the
interesting.
clamshell, which I am not initially a fan of. Like when the Switch was announced and I saw what the Switch was, I was a huge fan immediately. I was like, this is going to be amazing. Like I was so excited. But this, I don't see it. It seems gimmicky, and for anybody that knows the Vita, they had the touch screen on the back that everybody was like, "Oh my god, it's so cool." I knew
There was
when it
one
was
game that took advantage of that. I felt like
I think there was a few like a lot of the
one game
early
that took
stuff they were
advantage of it well. I should say, clarify.
okay. Was it Uncharted or was it a different
Tearaway.
one? Okay. But
No,
it
Uncharted
more
did
than
not take advantage of
yeah,
it well.
more than oftentimes it was just a nuisance to have something that your hands are holding that be a touchscreen.
And it made it really
Um,
hard to like kind of play those games on any other system,
right.
or play other systems on that.
So I don't know. I'm not super excited about having a third screen.
Yeah,
It's just I don't
this
know. I'm
looks to
trying.
me like a pretty basic patent. Like they're just patenting. Like, well, imagine if we had a clamshell design and also had a third screen. That doesn't mean they're going to do it. That doesn't mean that they're ever planning on doing anything like this. But somebody had this idea and they're like, well, let's patent it just in case we want to do it.
But like, do you think 4DS is in our future?
It doesn't sound like Nintendo used the words 4DS. That sounds like that nomenclature is made up by the people seeing the concept or the patent, right?
Oh, okay, fair. I mean, it
So
would make
like
sense though. Are you surprised to see Nintendo potentially staying in the handheld realm versus Switch too? I would think
the
that
Switch
like
is a handheld.
That's what I'm saying though. Like the fact that they're not just going forward with the Switch and they're keeping potentially the two kind of separate handheld versus Switch product lines.
Look, if I was just running Nintendo, I would definitely make a Switch 2, right? Because the Switch was a wild hit. But
Mhm.
also, Nintendo is the same company that had a wild hit with the Wii, made the Wii U, which bad name, but was basically a Wii 2, right?
Right.
And it completely flopped. So Nintendo, maybe looking for like the next big thing as opposed to just another Switch. I don't know what they're doing, and I don't think anybody can claim to because Nintendo sometimes hits them right out of Sometimes they hit them out of the park, they nail it, and sometimes they're like, "What were you thinking?"
I
you
I
know?
honestly feel like the Wii U was underappreciated personally. Like I enjoyed that system more than the Wii,
I
to be
think
honest.
that's a fair take, but the fact is that it was not a success, right? It was
Sure.
a
I
it,
think
it did very poorly.
yeah. If it had better third-party support, I think it would have been fine.
Well, that was what part of the
It's
problem. The
right.
design of the system limited its third-party support because it was so underpowered compared to the other systems that were its contemporaries that you had to port a game like to that system, and the only way you're going to do that is if it sells a ton, and it did not sell a ton. So
I mean, Nintendo systems have always been underpowered though. Like
that's not true. Modern Nintendo systems have been underpowered.
Since the Wii, they have been underpowered compared. I mean, like you could even argue GameCube.
The GameCube, I think, was appropriately powered for its contemporaries, the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox.
I think I mean, it was closer, but I think the other ones like Dreamcast and all them had a pretty good leg up, Xbox and PS2. But like the Wii, Wii U, Switch, it's all the DS, 3DS, they're all like lower quality than their,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But the thing that always brings people to Nintendo is software, right? And if they don't have the software, like they had good first party software for the Wii U. The problem was a lot of it was also found on the Wii or the Switch. So like there's like, it was kind of this in between and they know like the first party software was great and
It
they
was
just didn't
also a
have
bizarre system, right? It's like they marketed it as the Wii U, so it was like kind of hard to like what differentiates this. Oh, it's just a Wii with a
sure.
screen. Can I play the same games on it? Well, you can play some of the same games on it. We also updated some of the games for it. The library was not initially fantastic. There was no third party support. I mean, we bought one at launch here, but we buy everything at launch. But
Yeah,
it got very little play in this household. Like,
I hear you. It yeah. I see your point and I know that it was not a huge commercial success, but I still have an appreciation for that system that I feel like is
I think
under
that's fine. I got an appreciation for the Sega Saturn and the Dreamcast. Both of those were huge failures. For the 32X, I
yeah,
love the 32X, and that was, what more of a failure can you get, right?
right.
I think it's fine to appreciate a console that didn't do well.
Without the Wii U, we wouldn't have had the Switch, in my opinion. You know, a handheld with the screen.
Well, we certainly
It's
wouldn't
really
have had
what
it
I
as soon.
that too. That too. But I mean, like, it's kind of a natural evolution of the Wii U, in my opinion. I don't know. The Switch is yeah.
Switch was an amazing idea.
I don't know if they're gonna be able to capture that fire in a bottle anytime soon again.
I don't know.
Um,
It's a different landscape now, right? And when the Switch came out, it was so unique, but having like a handheld that you could just plug into a dock and then play on the TV. But now that is extremely common. The
right.
Steam Deck does it. There's a bunch of devices that do that. So
Which I think it should stay that way, honestly, moving forward, like convertible consoles.
I hope so too, man. I really like that. I think it's awesome. I like being able to like play the games on the TV and then just like, oh, me and the wife are like watching some terrible TV show that I'm not really interested in, so I'm just gonna pick it up and put it, quiet it down and just play it next to her on the couch so we could still spend time together. But I'm playing Mario Wonder. I'm playing Mario Wonder right now, and I'm loving it. Um, I love the Switch. I think it's probably one of my favorite consoles of all time. Look at all the fucking games I got for the damn thing.
You might actually have more Switch games than me.
I got a lot of them, and like I love a lot of them.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, moving on. I just thought it
Yeah,
was an interesting story.
it is.
Talking about Sega Saturn, NBA Jam, somehow, all these years later, somebody found two hidden characters that we didn't know about before. And one of them was Tim Kitzrow. He's on fire.
Yeah,
And a character named Fox that's wearing like a backwards hat that nobody seems to know who it is.
yeah, amazing. I love it. I love that we're still finding stuff in these old games. It makes me want to play the Saturn version of NBA Jam on my Mister.
It's NBA Jam. We can't remember if we did NBA Jam on this show
I'm
yet.
pretty sure we did. I'm gonna go check
We
the
need to if we
master
have it at
list.
some point. We did. Yes, we did. Right after
Oh yeah, we
Fester's
did it early.
Quest, like a year ago. It was like right in the middle.
We did it right before Metal Slug and right after Fester's Quest. Like, good 3 episodes.
Check them out on YouTube. Yeah, so I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting that they found that stuff.
Yeah, I like that. I always like how they find like secrets in old games. I like how it's amazing to me that like no developer was ever like a year after the game was released, like nobody found this. I'm just gonna like leak it like to a magazine or something. Like, because remember like the magazines had like cheats and tips and stuff in the back of the magazine.
Right.
Like,
Apparently
those had to come from the developers, right? It's like nobody found these things. This was the developers, like, saying, "Hey, we got some cheats in this game that you guys should put in the magazine."
Right. I mean, it even said in the interview or in the story that Tim didn't even know this existed either.
Cool.
Like he didn't know that he was in it. It's like he's like, I didn't sign off on this. I don't know. Where's my
speaking of this story or of NBA Jam, I was just reading that what's the guy from Friends? Perry?
Matthew Perry passed away.
Yeah, he passed away. He was apparently in a NBA Jam game, which I didn't know. Yeah, I saw that
which one?
No. I saw it on Twitter. I was like, oh, I didn't know that he was in a NBA Jam game.
I'm trying to think. It might have been like Tournament Edition or something like that.
I don't know. There were a lot of NBA Jam games.
Yeah.
And then remember they split, like one Acclaim or somebody got to keep the NBA Jam license, and they started making like 5-on-5 basketball games with it. But then there's like NBA Showtime that was like what NBA Jam used to be, but like
N64 era stuff.
Yeah. Weird.
And then they had the when it came the comeback from grace, the Wii, the NBA Jam on Wii was good again. You remember?
I don't remember that. No.
Yeah, it was solid for the Wii, but it hadn't been solid for a while.
Really? Wow. Yeah. Is it? Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna move on. Mario Bros. 3 turns 35, almost as old as me. So, question. I figured, is it time
for what?
To do Mario Brothers 3?
Oh, I mean,
I'm fast forwarding.
Seems like it'd be a good time to do it. Now that the game is 35 years old, man. Jesus Christ, time is flying by.
Have you ever beat Super Mario Bros. 3 with like every level completed, or did you always skip stuff?
I don't know that I ever really beat it, honestly. I'm not, you know me, I'm not like big into like Mario or the cutesy games. It's not, although I'm enjoying the hell out of Wonder.
Cutesy games. It describes
Mario
Brothers.
It's not my vibe.
Did you not play Mario Brothers 3 as a kid?
I definitely didn't own it as a cartridge. I think by the time it came out, what year did it come out? Because I might have had a Genesis by then. I was just like fully into Genesis.
I want to say, well, 35 years ago. So 87.
87. So no, the Genesis came out in 89. I don't know. I just wasn't that into it. Like I wasn't into Mario. Like I appreciated the first Super Mario Brothers. That was the packing game with the NES, because graphically it was kind of like I'd never seen anything like it. But like I quickly moved on to games that I enjoyed more, like Bionic Commando and Strider, which was not a good game, but I liked it. It's just not my vibe. I was not into it.
All right, we'll think about it. And we'll talk about it at the end of the show, I guess. Consider it.
Well, it's your choice. You can.
I know. Like,
You
I
make
feel
any
like I
choice you
need to
want.
force you to play it then if you haven't played it all the way through. It's like one of those games that you gotta.
You can't force me to play it all the way through, but I'll play it.
It's weird. It's weird for you to consider. I don't know. It's like it's top 5 for me of all time is that game.
Like, I appreciate,
Easy.
can't you like appreciate stuff as like being good, but just like understand that it's not for you?
Sure, but Super
That's
Mario
how I
Brothers
feel
3
about.
is different, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
It's like there are people who watch like The Godfather and they're like, I appreciate this is a fantastic movie, but I didn't like it.
Fair. Uh Analog OS 2.0. I mean, we didn't cover this last episode, so they're adding open FPGA support for display modes on the Pocket. So like when you have open FPGA games on it, like ROMs and stuff, you
Yeah.
will be able to use the different settings and things on the Pocket that you couldn't use before.
Yeah, so it has like a bunch of screen filters. Like, so if you put a Game Boy cartridge into the Analog Pocket, you can have like the color of the screen changes to whatever kind of green that you think the Game Boy should be based on which Game Boy you had, whether it was the Micro or the OG like thick boy. And you can also get like grid to separate the black dots to make it like look accurate to the original uh, Game Boy. All that stuff is being moved over to the Open FPGA side, where you can use ROMs. You don't have to have a cartridge, which is people have been clamoring for this. Yeah, I don't understand why it's taking so long, but I'm glad it's coming.
And it's interesting to me, like they have this support for open FPGA on the Pocket, but like they're trying to close it off for the 64. Feels kind of odd to me.
Yeah, it's a real bummer. You know, it kind of makes sense in a way to me that like, well, if we make one, this is true with the Turbo Duo too. It's not going to have open FPGA on it either. But if you think about it, it's like if they make one box that can do everything, is that going to limit what they can sell to people in the future? You know, I mean,
Fair.
I think that Analog's market is a little different than Mister's market, where Mister is just like one box to do it all, but you can't play cartridges on. I think the main draw of Analog's products is that you can play your cartridges on it, on like with pristine audio and video quality, which is very hard and very expensive to do if you want to do it with original hardware. So I don't think, I mean, I think it plays in the same space as the Mister and the Mars FPGA, but I think there's enough differences that, it's its own product. But once you put Open FPGA on one of these things, then it's a direct competitor and it can play cartridges. So I don't
Right.
know.
I mean, to that point, I guess if they have one product that can do it all, there's no point to release all the other products to do it all as well. Because then they could be like, well, you can buy the Pocket and you can buy this other stuff
With
instead
the
of like
Pocket is a very cool
either
device
or.
though, because you can play it in handheld mode and you can plug it into a TV, and it's also got cartridge slots, but it also has cartridge adapters, which the Mega
Mhm.
SG had too. It had cartridge adapters. You could play a bunch of different systems through cartridges. I can't remember what all the cartridge adapters did. I know one of them obviously was for the
Game Gear.
Master System. Yeah, the Game Gear. Yeah, there's two other ones if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember what they were. Yeah, I don't know. Analog is a funny company.
Yeah.
They definitely do things their own way, and has created quite a bit of, I don't know, animosity, I think, in the community. Because of it. I mean, I was watching, Retro RGB Bob from Retro RGB.
Mhm.
I mean, he did a video about this Analog 64, and he was like, you know, it's cool, but I hate this company. I'm like, I mean, I get it, like
They're
this
not very
company,
transparent.
they're
Yeah.
not very transparent. They talk like their shit don't stink for real. Like this, and like their pricing is kind of out of whack, especially like when you start like looking at shipping. They're people order stuff and they don't get it for a year. That doesn't make people feel good, and they take the money first. It's not like they take $5 deposit and then charge you when it ships.
Mhm.
There's a lot of stuff about this company that people really don't like.
Sure.
but they make something nobody else makes, and they make it really well.
Yeah.
Hey, as long as they're not out there killing babies, I guess I'm okay with it.
They don't. We don't know what operation or operating system 2.0 is going to bring other than that, though. So it'll be interesting to see if there's like, I don't even know if I can speculate on what they're going to add other than that, other than like bug fixing and things.
It may just be that. I don't know. It may just be
Yeah.
bug fixes and the display mode supports. They do say that DAC support is coming early next year, which could mean December,
Right.
2024 to Analog.
Early
But that's
December.
nice because the DAC allows you to plug in the Pocket to a CRT, which is very neat.
Mm-hmm. My
I have a
likes
DAC.
to plug into.
What's that?
My DAC likes to plug into.
Word. Let's talk to Manscaped about that. Yeah, I don't know. Analog is a funny company. I like a lot of their stuff. I've been very happy with the products I've bought, but yeah, it can be frustrating to like deal with them.
For sure. On the polar opposite scale, PolyMega on track to release all outstanding pre-orders by the end of this year.
Well, that's great. I'm glad to hear that. Good on PolyMega. They've had a hard road.
Mm-hmm.
So are you going to be able to just like order one of these now? Like just get one?
That's a good question. They're pushing their app right in the XL service with the new PolyMega Remix.
Yeah.
So can you even get the old console thing?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I've kind of stopped paying attention to what PolyMega has been doing. They have not been in like my like kind of perception of what's going on in the news lately.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that they're fulfilling all the remaining pre-orders this year. That's great news. I wonder if they are going to continue to take new orders. They've had quite a road, and I don't think it's entirely their fault what happened, honestly. Like, I mean, some of it obviously is, but not all of it.
And that light gun, which is honestly one of their most compelling accessories that they announced in 2019, still has not been released.
Yeah, I mean they're having a hard time over there, clearly.
Yeah, it's tough.
But I mean they offer, I think, a compelling product that's maybe overpriced compared to what else is on the market.
Sure.
But it's kind of neat that you can, where else can you? There's no other machine that offers the exact set of features that they do. It's a cool device. I do wish it was FPGA based though. That'd be cooler.
Yeah, same.
I would be way cooler.
I would have been, well, that's how it originally was announced.
Right. That's why I said.
Yeah.
Some of it is their
Like
fault.
I remember being excited about it when they're like, "Oh, you're going to be able to basically play anything, and it's going to be able to be module based and FPGA and all the things." And then they're like, "Oh, just kidding. We can't do any of that."
I don't even know. Maybe they just didn't know what FPGAs were. Like I really don't know. It doesn't. It seems like these were like some dreamers that found out it was harder to be a doer later, but
I'm a dreamer.
did it.
Yeah.
They did do it. So that's good.
They made dozens of dollars.
Dozens of dollars. I mean, hey, it's not easy, and they did it during the hardest time too.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes.
Not me.
Except for Jay.
There's a reason there's a blame Jay command in our chat.
Right, but it's only used ironically because we know we wouldn't possibly dare to blame Jay for anything.
No, it's usually the opposite. Like anything and everything that happens to anybody in the world is my fault. It's like, it's like the blame Obama thing, but blame Jay. Demon's Crest.
Demon's Crest. Jay, what did you think about this game? What did you think?
Other than it having some frustrating points, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I mean it's a gorgeous game, right? It's a, how would you describe it? action platformer. You play as Firebrand, previously seen in Ghouls and Ghosts as a bad guy.
Ghosts and
There's some
goblins.
drama about like some crystals and the other gargoyles or the other demons are mad at him. So, honestly, the story is not great. Like the manual doesn't really have much about the story. It's got like a couple of paragraphs, and there's like a little bit at the beginning of the game, like a little like kind of cutscene, but it's a really pretty game. I think it controls well. I thought it was very difficult, very difficult. I played this game on the Switch. Did you play it? You played it on a cartridge?
I played it on my analog with the actual cart.
Okay. I kind of was on the struggle bus with this game, I'd say for a week. And you know, like I pretty much started playing it right after the podcast. I knew it was on the Switch, so I just kind of started playing it. And I mean, I felt like I was really like getting my butt kicked by this game like over and over again. And I was using save states like on boss fights because like I couldn't believe like how am I gonna beat this guy? I've got so little health, and he just like these patterns are so unpredictable.
Yeah, weird RNG patterns sometimes.
So I got to this one boss, and I must have tried for an hour and a half, and I just got frustrated. And I'm like, I'm gonna look up on YouTube like how do you beat this boss? It's a little hard to do because the boss didn't have a name on it. He was like the fire guy. He like
that's
starts
the
off.
third boss. Yeah.
It wasn't my third boss.
You went to the wrong place first. Yep.
Okay, so I go to YouTube, and it was kind of hard to figure out like how do you name this boss, but I eventually found a video, and I'm watching this guy. He's got different powers than I got. He's got way more health than I got. I've got 5 like health bars, right? It's like you get 5 hit points.
Were you only the original form too, or did you have the ground?
I had 2 forms. Maybe I had 3 forms actually. I might have had 3 forms. I had like the stone one where you the electrics charge across the ground.
Yeah. That's the one you had to use to beat him, I think.
And I had a purple fireball. Anyhow, I'm like, well, wait a minute. Why does this guy have like twice as much health? He's got like 10 points of health. So this boss fight is easy for this guy because he can take twice as many hits as I can. So I'm like, all right, I got to look at some kind of walkthrough for this game. And I start watching the walkthrough. I'm like, this game is got so many like secrets and hit like one of the ways he got a health bar was I think he went back to the first level and he was flying along. You can fly in this game. And then right before like a very certain pillar, he just dropped down into what otherwise would be a pit of death, but it brought him into another screen that had like another level and a boss and everything. I was like, how would you ever know this? How would you ever know this unless you had some kind of walkthrough? And then as I watched the walkthrough, I continued to watch. I probably watched an hour and a half of the walkthrough. And he beat the game in about 2.5 hours. I was just curious, like, how would you ever know to do any of this stuff? Like the order in which he went to different places, because he went to the first level, the second level, the town, the first level, back to the second level. Like, how would you ever know to do this without a walkthrough? So I was a little mad about that. I was like, come on, like it's because it's got like this open world aspect, a little bit like ActRaiser's like top-down perspective, where you can fly your character anywhere to go to like a bunch of different places, and they are numbered if you go to like if you zoom out on the map, like 1, 2, 3, 4. But man, like that's not really what you should do. You really need to be replaying the levels several times, go back to them once you have new powers to unlock, new parts of the level, new bosses, and get more new powers. It was like I was playing this game wrong.
Yeah, I didn't do all of that stuff either. I was brute forcing my way through bosses.
Yeah, some of the bosses are tough when you don't have a lot of health or you don't have the right weapon.
That fire guy took me a good half hour just of like banging my head against the wall. But yeah, because I think I had 8 health points, so you could get hit 4 times by his body or 8 times by the little like fire pellets that he dropped.
Yeah.
But like 10 minutes before this podcast started, I beat him.
Nice. Nice.
So yeah, and then I loaded into the fourth level and got to the boss, and I was like, nope, not gonna happen because I just I died immediately.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you thought you nearly beat the game.
Mhm. There's multiple well, I mean, look, there's multiple endings, and after you beat the game the first time, you go back and there's like an extra boss and extra level and stuff like that too.
Okay.
So
Yeah, there's a
um
lot more than that.
I
Um,
I I got to the last boss of the first playthrough theoretically, but apparently I didn't do all the secret stuff. So
okay.
don't take my thunder, Briar.
Sorry.
I beat the fire boss,
There were
and
quite a
that's
bit more bosses to come.
so I beat 3 bosses, I guess. I beat
Yeah.
the worm lady was a pain in the ass. That one, that worm that would like shoot the thing, and
Oh
you know what
yeah.
I'm talking about?
Yeah, that one I didn't have a problem with. It was that fire
And then there
boss
was
that I was having
the
trouble with.
skeleton guy with the sword took me a while
Yeah.
because you had to jump over him a bunch.
Yeah, this game's tough,
Um,
man, but it is gorgeous. It is just
yeah.
I think it's peak SNES, really. It's like it's that good looking. Like it stands toe to toe with some of the best out there. It really moody right from the get-go too when you like fight the dragon. Like you get dropped in this
Yeah.
game and you got to
Like
fight a dragon.
I can't even hit pause. I can't do anything.
Right? You
Not
get
ready.
to it.
Not ready.
But really good looking. That first level too. It's like it's just so kind of moody and spooky. The music really fits the vibe. You know, considering this is like a sister game to Ghouls and Ghosts, which has kind of got much more a goofy vibe, I'd say. You know, it's still
Is Ghouls and Ghosts different than Ghosts and Goblins?
Ghosts and Goblins came first. Ghouls and Ghosts
Okay.
kind of came later, but like very similar games. Um, and you know, this is part of that. Like,
Right.
I don't know.
And it is the third game in the trilogy of Gargoyle's Quest 1 and 2 on Game Boy as well, for those that are interested.
Yeah, so I don't know. Really cool game, really difficult game. I would definitely look up a walkthrough of some sort for this game because it's gonna make it a lot.
It's like a
lot easier.
Metroid style, like the way that you have to backtrack and get stuff and
Yeah,
power-ups
sort of.
and
I mean, it doesn't operate like Metroid, but you definitely got to backtrack quite a bit. I don't know. I like it. Once I figured out how to play it better, I was having more fun in it too. You know what I mean?
What was you said you had a rage-inducing moment. What was
That was it, man. I was like, how am I supposed to know any of this stuff?
Sure.
Like, this dude's got like, I think he had 10 or 11 hit points for that fire boss, and I had 5. And I'm like, how am I even supposed to know to be looking for this stuff? You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I looked at the manual. The manual doesn't really explain it in any way. No. The game itself doesn't really explain itself in any way. It's very, very low. So that's what made me mad. I'm like, this, I feel like I really like this game. That part of it, I feel, is a little bit bad. Game design, like hiding stuff so much that I feel like you really, even in the 90s, would have had to, have a, like a strategy guide or have like a Nintendo Power that had a strategy guide in it, or call like the Nintendo hotline to get tips for this game. Because there's no way you're just going to run across like this one little pit that has like another boss in it. You know what I mean? Or no, like that kind of stuff. So
right.
There's parts of 90s games design that I feel like really they were trying to sell some strategy guides. I feel like this is definitely one of them.
In the developer interview, which I linked in our notes, he did make a big point to talk about replayability, and they wanted to make a game where, there's different paths that you can take, and there's different endings you can do based on like the paths that you take, and then going back and picking up secrets and other power-ups and stuff that you couldn't get before and couldn't reach because of not having certain powers and stuff like that. That was like all part of their plan. So if you think about from a developer perspective, games back then only had so much bandwidth to work with as far as like on the cart. So the fact that they were able to pack all this stuff in creatively like this is pretty cool to think about. Like you could go back and play this multiple times and find new stuff, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's true. And we've often said like back in the day, you had a game and it was your game for 6 months, right? Like So that would have been appreciated, I'm sure. I think I would have loved this game when I was a kid. I wish I had
Yeah.
played it when I was a kid because I think it would have been right up my alley. It just, for whatever reason, did not enter my head at all.
You would think because you liked all that dark stuff,
Yeah, I loved
Castlevania
it.
and all that stuff, that you would have enjoyed it. Yeah, I don't think I ever came across this game. I don't think I ever remember seeing it, playing it, anything.
No, I never really heard about it
Same.
until I was an adult, and I only heard about it because I found out that it was like part of the Ghouls and Ghosts kind of series, kind of,
Right.
or part of the same world. Which I loved Ghouls and Ghosts even when I was a kid, so I would have definitely been interested in this game if I had known about it.
Same with like Gargoyle's Quest, which is a
I knew about
similar.
Gargoyle's Quest.
You did?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think I did. Because these are similar games to that. They're just kind of the successor, and you know, they
Yeah,
they kept kind of the same formula, but they made it look better and were able to add quite a bit more stuff.
yeah,
I mean, this game's been available since almost 10 years ago too, because it was on the Nintendo Wii Virtual Console as well as the 3DS Virtual Console.
mm-hmm.
Or was 2014, was that Wii U? That might have been Wii U.
Yeah, probably.
Because Wii was like
Yeah,
whatever.
it had to be Wii U.
And now it's on the Nintendo Switch. So it's been available pretty consistently for like a decade. Which is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
it's nice playing on the Switch too because you got those save states instead of using the
Mhm.
password system. You can just save a state, play something else or do something else and come back to it and just load it back up, and it's very very simple. Switch
I,
emulation or Super Nintendo emulation on Switch is pretty nice.
I will say the most difficult part of this game is the bosses, and it's not even close. Like the
Oh
levels,
yeah,
you can almost just like skirt by without even doing much in the levels to
yeah,
get to the bosses.
yeah,
But the
because you can
bosses
fly
are
over
like,
half of the enemies.
yeah, right. The boss is really, there's a lot of games where the bosses are not that much drastically more difficult, but there's this element of randomness in their attacks a lot of the times. Like every time you play a boss, they're not going to attack you the same way.
No,
Um, so you can't, like, they have similar patterns, and once you figure out the pattern, but like it's not exactly the same every time.
yeah, there's
Um,
RNG about like which attack you're gonna get in which order,
right,
and like
right.
you have to balance actually doing damage to the enemy because you move slow in this game. Like you are pretty
Yeah,
plodding as a character,
yeah,
even though you can fly. Like everything you do is pretty slow, uh, and at some point you got to do damage to this character, and you got to predict how this boss is going to attack you. But like if you got to be far away from that character when he attacks, then you just got to like kind of hang far away.
you got to make your decisions quick too and commit.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
I will say though, a way to curb frustration when playing hard bosses is to have unlimited continues.
that's true.
So, and every time you continue, like you start kind of towards the beginning of the level, but the levels are pretty quick to get through, at least
Yeah, not
whatever, to get
difficult.
back to the boss. And a lot of the times you get full health right before you get back to the boss again to try again.
Yeah,
So
you can farm
that
enemies to
part,
get it too
yeah,
at the end
it
of
takes some of
levels.
the frustration out of it, which is how I was able to like, because I hate those games that like make you start over at the very beginning or make you start at the very beginning of a level, go all the way through again. It took a lot of that frustration out so that I was able to continue trying and beating those bosses, which was nice.
Yeah,
Even without save states or anything, playing on the original cart.
yeah. Um, we kind of mentioned there was kind of like this like open world style like kind of map, and you could fly to different parts of the map, and you can like kind of choose your own adventure in a way. And
Mhm.
then like depending on how you approached it, you could get different weapons at different times, and then almost Mega Man style, like use different weapons on different bosses for better or worse results. I just wish that was explained somehow. Like a little guidance. I think would have been nice inside the game, or even in the
Sure.
manual, to kind of like let you know what was going on. Because this game really, really very little like any kind of like communication with the player. Like it's really
Yeah.
just like get out there, kiddo, slap somebody on the ass, and
I couldn't really figure out the whole like you had to have a potion bottle and fill up the potion before you can use it, or like the power ups and stuff like that. Like it was hard
same,
to understand.
yeah,
Like
same,
I'm hitting X, nothing's happening. Why? Like
yeah.
that kind
And
of
then
stuff
like
was
even some of the powers for like you'd get like a new kind of like form for your demon, and like
mm,
I don't really understand what this is doing. You know, like I don't understand. I like this one doesn't have wings, and its shot goes along the ground, and he can run through some stuff. But like I don't understand like how or why I should be using this. You know,
Right.
I don't know. It is a good game. I would just strongly look at a walkthrough. Strongly recommend that. Trying to
I kind
find
of
like
want to.
one of the old ones too that has like pictures and stuff.
Yeah, I kind of want to play through it and like find all the secrets and
Yeah, I'm gonna keep playing this. I haven't beaten it yet. I'm gonna keep playing it though. Definitely.
it's fun. It's not overly frustrating, which is awesome. Briar's just awkwardly.
I was frustrated. I was pretty frustrated with this game, honestly.
I hear you.
I was more frustrated when I realized that I'd just been playing it wrong. That's really what frustrated me.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god! Like I was just beating my head against a wall that was needless. I could have been going to do other things and like get more health, but I didn't really realize that was an option.
Sure.
Is that it for Demon's Crest?
I believe so.
All right. Definitely one of the most pretty games on the Super Nintendo, especially into the aesthetic. I think it's really cool looking.
100%. Do you have any pickups?
Do I have any pickups? I forgot. I did pick up Mario Wonder, not a retro game, but definitely a retro inspired game. If you do like old school Mario 2D games, this one is, I mean, it's really good. It feels really inventive. Like a bunch of new ideas, but still has that Mario feel. I think better than like the new Super Mario games, the quote unquote new Super Mario games did.
That have been around for 10 years.
Yeah, I mean that was a series of in and of itself, right? It's the new Super Mario series. This game feels great. It looks great. It's very fun. It's very inventive. I've been having fun with it. One of my kids is playing it as well, and they've been having fun with it too.
Have you played co-op at all yet on it?
No, not yet. No.
I was curious how that held up. So that's your pickup?
I guess so.
All right, I got two. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red Team.
Oh,
the Game Boy Advance. The box is a little beat up on the bottom, but it was one of the Pokemon games that I didn't have CIB. So
what kind of Pokemon game is that? I've never heard of Mystery Dungeon.
It's like an adventure type game. It's like a more of a linear story experience. I think there's
really?
a bunch of dungeon games, blue, red, DS ones, 3DS, all sorts of stuff like that. I haven't played through any of them yet, but I can't remember if they have any on Switch, but they might. It says meet over 380 Pokemon in your journey, become friends with them, and call upon them for help whenever you need to. There's like rescue missions that you do.
Do you play a lot of Pokemon games?
I played Red and Blue a lot, and I played like some Platinum and.
Okay, you don't play any of the modern stuff.
I played a little bit, but yeah, I haven't the same way I did as a kid.
Yeah.
And then I got one more pickup. So my retro store, apparently, within the last couple of weeks, the owner has like, I didn't realize this. He took a bunch of like the rare, expensive games and was just holding on to them. And some of the employees were like, we're not sure exactly why, what his plan was, all this stuff, but he's like been flooding it back into the store. So I saw on Facebook, I was like, they had a complete in box Pocket and Rocky 2, complete in box Mega Man X3, which I needed both of those. They were beat to hell. The manuals were all like torn up and stuff. I'm like, those are expensive games, right? And then I did have some credit and I took some stuff to trade. And so I picked this up because it's in fantastic shape. Breath of Fire 2 RPG game. I have the first one, but now I have both of them CIB, and this is in great shape.
Neat.
And then like a couple of days later, another like Facebook post. All right, we got some NES games, and it's like Bonk's Adventure and a CIB. What is it? Bucky O'Hare and all these like $500 to $1,200 games just like flooding back into the store. I'm like,
wow,
that's really suspicious. I recognize that specific Bonk's Adventure because I was looking at it and had a little stain on it. They're like, yeah, it very much could be the same copy that you saw like a year ago. And they just like, I noticed a whole bunch of them disappearing because they were games that I was like looking at. And funny thing is they've gone down in value since they went away and stuff. But
I mean,
I don't know if
your friend.
Yeah, I don't know if the person was doing it to speculate on him going up or what the plan was. But it is weird that just all of a sudden all these rare titles are flooding back to the store.
Mm.
It's very bizarre to me.
It does seem prices are starting to come back down from like the high of like COVID, right?
Which I'm like, good, but also like the stuff that I've had for a long time is coming back down, so it's hard to
I hear
like,
you.
I don't know.
I can see how you have mixed emotions on it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be easier to pick stuff up that I don't have, but I already have a lot of the things, so
Yeah.
that's not why I collect. But I'm at the point now where I'm like, should I sell some of my stuff and then buy later after it's come back down? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's some stuff that I own. I'm like, I don't need that. I don't need it. And I always told my wife I'll sell if it starts crashing. So I don't know. I'm in a weird spot. Anyways, next episode. So I'll let you choose then.
Okay. So, the unpopular opinion, but I've always liked Super Mario 2. Like, that's kind of my low-key favorite Mario game from the NES.
So you obviously haven't played through 3 if 2 is your favorite.
I look, I don't think I've ever beaten any of the Super Mario games on the NES. I've never beaten any of them, I don't think. But I like Super Mario 2. It just had this like goofy kind of fun aesthetic. It felt different than the rest of them.
So he's having to choose between Super Mario Brothers 2 and Super Mario Brothers 3.
Let's do 3. I'll try and beat it.
All right. I've guilted him into it.
Yeah. I think I have a cartridge of it. Because they're dirt cheap, right? They're like
$15-20 probably for a copy. For cart. Not for the left bros though.
Not for that left bro. Get your dirty right bro out of here.
I get to have a whole episode talking about left bros versus right bros.
I think that was one of the first episodes, right? I think you learned us all about that early.
Yeah, because I had
left bro, right bro.
Just discovered it.
Very cool. Okay, so Mario Bro 3. Can I play the Super Nintendo version, or I have to play the NES version?
You mean like the Super Mario All-Stars version?
Yeah.
I don't know if they're any different.
It looks nicer, doesn't it?
Maybe.
I don't really know.
You could play the Super Mario All-Stars version.
Okay. Well, I'll play a little bit of both. Definitely, just
it's
so
not
I know
like it's not like
different.
higher res graphics or anything like that. I think it's the same game.
It's not redrawn?
I don't think so.
I think it is. I think it's definitely redrawn. I know that the first one is. It looks different. Definitely looks different than you couldn't just port games from NES to Super Nintendo back in the day.
Oh, you might be right.
Definitely right.
All right. Okay. But it's the same game, right? I do have all.
I'm sure there's some differences, right? I mean, it's not exactly the same game.
I guess we'll find out.
I'll play a little of both, but I'll try and concentrate on the NES version.
Are they? I think they're both on the Switch Online service too.
Oh, okay.
I think it's All Stars on.
I think I'm gonna play this on an actual NES. I think that's gonna be the most fun. I got
the
one that
I'm looking at a
Wilson
video
modded, and that pristine video out of that thing is insane. So any excuse to get that thing out is perfect.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just looking. I'm looking at. Yeah, Super Mario All Stars is available on Switch SNES library as of 3 years ago.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
I'm sure that the NES version is on there too.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you all for watching. In 2 weeks, we'll be doing Super Mario Bros. 3 for the 35th anniversary celebration. That should be fun. I'm gonna try and beat it. I'm gonna try and like legitimately beat. I've beaten other Super Mario games, just not the NES ones. I beat new Super Mario Brothers. What's that?
Without the warp whistle?
I'm not making any promises. I'm probably gonna use a warp whistle. I'm not made out of fucking time over here.
Happy
All right, guys.
Halloween, everybody.
Yeah, happy Halloween. Be safe out there. We'll see you soon. Goodbye.